Hi there, my name is Eric Story, and I'm the Director of Grassroots and Digital Advocacy here at the American Bar Association. I'm joined with Nathan Wilner, who is kind enough to take some time and talk to us about how we can talk to our networks and message our networks to expand our reach and make our voice that much more powerful. Nathan, thank you so much for joining us, and if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And My name is Nathan Wilner. I'm the Government Affairs Officer at the National Creditors Bar Association and a proud American Bar Association member. And So excited to be able to talk to my colleagues about advocacy and grassroots efforts and social media, because I think that, as we just heard from Senator Sinema, this kind of advocacy really does get the attention of the elected officials and especially their staff as well. So being able to add that kind of my own personal experiences really, I think, will help everyone. And we're all in this together. So I really appreciate you taking the time to have me on today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm quite familiar with how adept you are at LinkedIn. And I know some of the legal professionals that are watching right now have strong LinkedIn networks, maybe even have strong Twitter and Facebook followings. But they're not quite sure how to actually utilize these channels to get their networks involved in what they're working on. Would you mind telling us a little bit about how we can activate the people around us and get them involved in some of our projects?
Absolutely. So something that I learned from Eric and about how LinkedIn works, it was sort of intuitive on my part, but not completely obvious, was that so many members of legislative offices, staffers, members that work on the Hill do look at LinkedIn on a regular basis. So the first thing is, you're going to be hitting your target audience by posting things on LinkedIn. So besides building your own personal network, so you start with your colleagues, your friends, your office. Those are kind of easy. But then as time goes on, you're going to look for other people that practice in your space or other trade association members that link up with the same ideology and focus that you're trying to get across about who you are and what you're about. Now, many people, their first inclination is they see a post put up by a trade association or even a different bar association or court, and then they just cut and paste and put it up. That's better than nothing, but that doesn't really get the attention of people that are scrolling through their LinkedIn feed. What makes it unique if it's about you? And so you have to think of yourself as a brand. What do you stand for? What are you about? Because if you do this on a regular basis, and most experts suggest that at least 3 times a week, you post something on a regular basis and at varying times. And again, there are studies as to what time of day, what day of the week will get the most views. But again, you want to make it personal. So, for instance, if we're talking about ABA Day, uh, while the ABA has fantastic graphics, if you want to get people's attention, you're going to see if you can find a picture of some advocacy effort that you did previously, maybe last year or another year when we were in person. Noted as an archive photo, so it's clear that it's not a current photo, but that is going to get the attention. That's going to stop the reader and say, "Hey, what's Nathan up to? What's Eric up to?" And that's going to draw them in. And then they're going to look at the verbiage. And again, you want to always link it to either a registration page or to more other information that's about the issue you're talking about. But the first thing is, if you don't get the person's attention, you've really not accomplished much. And then the next step is you want to reciprocate on other people's posts. So if you see a fellow member of your firm, a member of your committee that is interested in something and it mirrors what you're trying to accomplish, definitely want to like it. You want to comment on it. You want to reshare it. Those are the things that you need to think of over and over again: is reshare, like, and comment, and even like other people's comments. So every time you touch a social media platform, it not only goes to your list of contacts, but it goes to that person's list of contacts. And again, it doesn't have to be all encompassing and overwhelm you. But if you get into the regular basis of several days a week at certain times, you'll see that what your brain will do is you'll start thinking about things that you do or things that you read, and you'll say, that's good for LinkedIn. Or I just met with that legislator last year, and I have a photo with that person. I'm going to highlight this advocacy effort or this legal issue, and that is going to get the attention. So I've been doing this for quite a while, and I know that it works because I've spoken to legislators and staffers and colleagues and people in other associations or in other states, and they say, "Oh, you're the LinkedIn guy." Now, at first, I was a little taken aback. I didn't want to be the LinkedIn guy, but then I realized that I'm accomplishing my goal, and that is how you can use that tool to really advocate for issues that are so important to attorneys and the practice of law.
Great, that's great. And I will say you have been referred to as the LinkedIn guy around the office, but I promise only in good ways, only in good ways. I know a lot of people that are watching interact with different posts and different things that are on social media, but they're not quite sure what types of posts are really the best for them to get their message across. Would you let us know what types of things and actions people can take to really amplify their message?
Again, don't be a one-trick pony. Don't just cut and paste other materials. If you have a comment, you have something to add, or you can make it personal. It goes, much further to get people's attention and buy-in, and also comment. Sometimes you can even post a question like, "I'm looking forward to attending ABA Day. Anyone on my list going to be there with me?" I mean, even as something as simple as that, something that'll prompt a response. Because again, remember, every response is furthering your marketing efforts and your advocacy efforts to a broader audience. And after all, that's what this is about. You can have the best advocacy position and the best one pager and the best organized event, but if no one knows about it, it's really not going to go anywhere. Another thing to keep in mind is if you post it one place, post it in every place. You don't have to reproduce. Don't think like someone saw it on LinkedIn. They shouldn't see it on Twitter. Different audiences, different times of day. And again, the worst thing that'll happen is that someone will see the same thing twice. That's not necessarily a bad thing. So again, you want to kind of make it personal about you. Let your members of your list and members of your association or colleagues of your firm get to know you. So again, if you do some charitable event or there's something with, if it's the appropriate type of thing to talk about something you did on a holiday or a family type event, you want to sprinkle that into the mix. So people get to know who you are and what you're about and what you stand for, as opposed to just someone who just reposts what some organization put together. So those are the types of things that I think make a serious difference in the reach and influence that social media can give each and every one of the attorneys that are listening today.
Interesting. That's interesting. And I know a lot of the people that are watching right now, and a lot of the people that represent firms that are watching right now, may be a little hesitant to comment on some things, or maybe even to get into social media altogether. What would you say to those people about how this presents them to the public and what this really does around their perception in the community?
So again, obviously, you have to be mindful of what you post to make sure that it's within your firm's guidelines, that you're not doing anything that's inappropriate or going to get you into any sort of hot water with your supervisor or senior partner of your firm. But the other side of the coin is, and what I've seen is that you know everyone's job that's listening is to be an attorney, to do their job. That is expected. What isn't expected is when you go the extra mile and you are not only talking about what's important to you, but you're talking about your firm. You're talking about some of the types of cases and even charitable or pro bono issues that your firm is involved in. So obviously you need to be smart, but what you're really doing is marketing your entire firm. So my experience is that if it's done properly and you're mindful about what you do, not only is it going to help your own professional career, but your supervisors, your senior partners, your colleagues are not only going to appreciate it, but you'll see that they're going to start doing it too. And that's been my experience. They're going to say, "Hey, how do I do that?" And by the way, if you utilize LinkedIn, and actually you can directly connect it to either getting a client or making a difference on an advocacy type of issue, you can be certain that other people are going to want to copy and learn from you.
Mhm. That's interesting. That's interesting. All right. Well, the last question I have for you is what is one piece of advice that you can give everybody watching right now that they can get their networks involved in this ABA day and beyond?
The number one thing that anyone who's reading social media can either will work in your benefit or to your detriment is your sincerity. So pick an issue that you're passionate about that works with the area of practice of law that you're in, your geographic area, or even what's timely in the media, as long as, again, it works within the guidelines I stated earlier. But sincerity and passion goes a long way when you're trying to convince folks to get involved in advocacy and really fighting for what's important.
Absolutely. That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Nathan. I really appreciate it. And for everybody watching, this is Nathan Wilner of the Creditor Bars Association. I highly recommend you reach out and connect with him on LinkedIn. I think you'll really be impressed at some of the things that are going on in our profession right now that you can get involved in, or you can even add your voice to the conversation. But that about does it for us now, and thank you.